you very much, Sister Felicia, for the nice Karanya Metta Sutta chanting. Now let us invite her once again for today's sharing. The topic of today's sharing is the science and psychology of meditation. Over to you, Sister Felicia.
Thank you so much for Brother Terence for your kind introduction. And thank you to our lovely chanters for their effort and commitment to chant for our usual Sunday puja. So today's topic is the science and psychology of meditation. So let me enlarge the screen. So before we begin, let us pay our highest respect to our greatest teacher, the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So meditation. Why should we meditate? I think this would be a great topic for those who are not too sure about whether or not they should start practicing meditation, or so I think hopefully this Dhamma sharing can help you decide. And to long-term meditators who are watching this sharing, maybe it can help you to get even more motivation to practice the meditation. Okay, overall, we are going to look at meditation from the perspective of science and psychology. So it may get a little bit academic, just a bit, and technical on the science stuff, but I try to put it as simple as I can lah, okay? By the way, the picture on the right is Matthew Ricard. You can look it up for his name, Matthew Ricard. He is a cell biologist who became a monk, and he too participate in many science experiments to show us why we should meditate. So we all know that meditation is one of the most important element in Theravada Buddhism, right? But I'm pretty sure for those of us who meditate or don't meditate, we should have wondered before, right? Hey, why people meditate? If it's just sitting and do nothing, isn't it a waste of time? But somehow people from tens and thousands of years ago, like the Hindu yogis, they already started to turn towards practicing meditation. But why? So this is where psychology and science come in. There are many researchers on the meditation, but today's Dhamma sharing is focused specifically on Buddhist meditation. So all these data, algorithm, and brain scanning images that later I'm going to show you can provide us with all the evidence that why we should meditate. Okay, and for this Dhamma sharing, I look up on quite many scientific journals. So I compiled the results and conclusion from all these journals, and then those journals are actually conducted research based on lay meditators and also veteran meditators into this Dhamma sharing. Okay. So why look at meditation from a psychology and science perspective, other than it gives us evidence to believe that meditation works? They can actually provide us with neutral results and evidence. And this scientific research, they will try to avoid any kind of bias as much as they could. And also it's rational. We don't want to blindly believe what other people say. We can choose not to believe anyone who claim that they are our meditation gurus. We want concrete evidence. We want to be rational. Okay. And also secular. Secular means that it's not bound to spiritual or religion. When we look at meditation from psychology and science perspective, it kind of appeals to secular crowd, okay? Especially the Westerners. Some of them chose not to believe and practice other aspects of Buddhism, like believing in karma or Dhamma, but they accept the Buddhist way of practicing meditation. Like for example, John Kabat-Zinn, he has this mindfulness-based stress reduction program, MBSR. This is a very famous contemporary modern therapeutic technique designed to reduce stress, okay? And also the mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT, in psychotherapy. They are not religion bound, but they also use the same concept of Buddhist meditation. For example, they also have mindfulness meditation, they do body scanning, they do breathing meditation, etc., etc. And they are proved to be very, very effective in the field of psychotherapy. So of course, we know that there are many types of meditation tradition in Buddhism, right? But in this Dhamma sharing session, I'll only be focused on 3 of the most common meditation practices in Theravada Buddhism. So the first one is the focus of attention, mindfulness meditation, and the third one is compassion or loving kindness meditation, meaning the researchers in this presentation are results that are taken from this from the scientific journals that basically studied on either of these 3 methods. But we won't be touching on the techniques of this meditation today. So we'll be only focusing on the scientific reasons and results. So the first one is focus of attention. By definition, focus of attention meditation involves focusing on something intently as a way of staying in the present moment and slowing down the inner dialogue. So just now I had a conversation with Brother Terence also monkey mind, feeding the bananas to the monkey mind, So of course, speaking about the monkey mind, we use this focus of attention meditation a lot to tame this little monkey. So of course there are many objects that meditators can focus on for this type of meditation. Like for example, you can meditate on the 9 qualities of the Buddha. But for this Dhamma sharing purpose, I chose to use the journals that we use, that they use breathing as center of focus of attention. So it's anapanasati in other words. According to Buddhism, our mind is like drunken monkeys, okay? They jump around, reaching and swinging from branch to branch. They reach for bananas, means they crave a lot, and then they have this inner chattering endlessly, okay? So, and Buddhists, we call this the monkey mind. But could this monkey mind saying be true according to science? Actually, the answer is yes. So according to science, our mind wanders by default, 1 minute we are thinking about the past, then another minute we worried about the future, and all sort of nonsense come up to the mind, so on and so forth. So this is because when we do not focus our attention on anything, there is a neural network called the default mode network, DMN. It will be activated, and because it's a default state of mind, it means it goes by default. If you think of nothing, then it default goes to this mind setting. It appears that this mind wandering mental state happens extremely frequent and high in prevalence in our daily life. So our mind kind of wanders a lot during our day. So now, this is how our wandering mind looks like under the fMRI. The ABCDEFG you see here is our default mode network. You can see that default mode network is quite active in this image. It kind of uses up quite a large part of our brain lah. And then this is our focused mind during meditation. You can see it's so much different when our state of mind shift from default wandering state to the focused meditating state. All the neural of the brain starts to quiet down and then calm down. So it kind of uses lesser part of the brain. So as we can see here, first our mind wanders. Many part of our brains, the DMN is activated. Then when we realize, how come my mind got drifted away already? This is where the green part, the green part is activated. Then the other DMN slowly quiet down, and then the reorientation of awareness. So you say, oh, go back to breathing, go back to breathing. Then this green and blue color part will be activated. Once we try to sustain that focus, this blue part will activated, and then naturally, especially for newer meditators, right, the cycle will repeat again. Very naturally, it goes back to wandering state again. So it starts to drift again. So for long-term meditators, right, maybe the sustained focus stage, the blue color one, maybe it will last longer. So that is how the monkey mind is tamed. Okay, so why do we want to tame the monkey? Is it important to tame the monkey? So according to researcher Lutz and colleagues, they conducted an experiment where they taught their participants with no prior meditation experience to do the focus of attention meditation for 3 months, means the anapanasati for 3 months. And these are the results. They improve concentration on tasks given, improve performance on continuous tasks, concentration become effortless eventually, they become energetic, reduce need for sleep, and also decrease emotional reactivity. So all the good stuff lah. Another study conducted by Hazenkamp and Barcelo, they found that veterans meditator with more than 10,000 hours of practice actually demonstrated less activation attention-related brain regions. So you might ask, how come? Shouldn't it be more activated in brain region? So actually the researcher explained these effects they kind of resembles like the skills of expert musicians and athletes capable of immersing themselves in the flow of their performance with a minimal sense of effortful control. So they only need a little effort from the brain in order to be focused on something, because they have already meditated for so long, 10,000 hours, so it's kind of effortless to them already. And if you've heard of positive psychology, right, flow is actually a very important element in positive psychology. It's in positive psychology, the flow state, also known as being in the zone, is a mental state in which a person performing some activity is fully immersed in a feeling of energized, focus, full involvement, and enjoyment in the process of the activity. For example, like the Tibetan monks doing the sand mandala, right? They full focus and very in the zone. That's why making mandala is also a form of like art therapy, recommended by psychologists and all, because it's very therapeutic, it's calming, in that sense, because of the flow mental state. But I won't say that flow is equivalent to what Buddhists call jhana, because I think jhana is much more complicated and deeper mental phenomenon. but we can be quite certain that both flow and jhana, they share some similarities lah, okay? So when you're fully focused in the zone, fully immersed, then it's flow, according to psychology terms lah. So next is mindfulness. I think mindfulness is one of the most popular type of meditation in Theravada Buddhism, you know, like because of the widespread of Vipassana meditation movement by Burmese monks like Mahasi Sayadaw, Goenka, and Pa Auk. And also, like I've mentioned earlier, the Westerner psychologists like Jon Kabat-Zinn brought in the mindfulness-based stress reduction program, MBSR, to the general public. And also, there's also mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, the MBCT in psychotherapy. So mindfulness meditation is very, very common. But in this sharing session, we won't be focusing about the techniques, you know, like rising, falling, body scanning, etc. Because I think all these techniques, you know, they have the same goal, which is to pay attention to our body sensation and to the present. So in this presentation, mindfulness goes by the general definition, which is an open monitoring meditation, tries to cultivate a less emotionally reactive awareness to emotion, thoughts, and sensation occurring in the present moment to prevent them from spiraling out of control and creating mental distress. In mindfulness, the meditator remains attentive moment by moment to any experience without focusing on anything specific. So, what are the benefits of meditation according to science? Okay, researcher Slachter and colleagues found out that mindfulness meditation can optimize our attention. Okay, so they conducted an experiment which they asked participants to detect attentional blink stimuli. So attentional blink stimuli is like this. Let me play this video. The attentional blink stimuli experiment. Then they found out that the meditators undergone 3 months of mindfulness meditation perceive more numbers of visual stimuli than the non-meditators. And by monitoring the meditators' P3B brainwave, the P3B brainwave is used to assess how attention is allocated in our brain, indicated that meditators were capable of optimizing their attention through mindfulness mental training. And also, of course, there are many others benefits of mindfulness meditation. But I can't go through each and every experiment that has been published, you know. But because I went through 20 science journal paper and then I compiled into this presentation, okay. So these are the main benefits that I compiled together and found that other studies say that mindfulness actually can help reduce pain perception, diminish anxiety-related regions like our insular cortex and amygdala, and also reduce inflammation and stress hormone levels, and improve sleep patterns, manage negative thoughts and rumination by observing one's thoughts. This one is very important, right? And then also reduce risk of relapse of severe depression by nearly 40%. And then the third type of meditation is compassion and loving kindness meditation, which is also known as our Karuna and Metta meditation in Pali. It cultivates attitudes and feelings of loving kindness and compassion toward other people and oneself. Compassion meditation focuses awareness upon alleviation of the suffering of all sentient beings, and loving kindness meditation focus upon loving and kind concern for their well-being. And then the benefit, according to Dalai Lama and Cutler, is that it broadens attention, enhance positive emotion, lessen negative emotional states, shift a person's basic view of the self in relation to others, and increase empathy and compassion. And according to Bhikkhu Analayo and Master Sheng Yen, loving kindness meditation is considered particularly helpful for people who have a strong tendency towards hostility and anger. But these are non-scientific claims. These are benefits that Buddhist teachers experience and they observe after meditating for such a long time. And what are the scientific benefits according to scientists? Hutchison and colleagues, they conducted experiment of loving kindness meditation. They asked participants to redirect loving kindness towards a photograph of a stranger while wishing them health, happiness, and well-being. And only after 7 minutes, right, participants report that they felt very connected and similar and also positive towards that imagery of the stranger. And then Lutz and Davidson also conducted a loving kindness meditation. They asked participants to meditate on loving kindness and then followed by a silent repetition of the phrase, "May all beings find happiness and be free from suffering." And they found that their insular cortex, which is just now, like I mentioned, the part of brain that's known to participate in empathetic and all our emotional response, is actually more activated in our brain, the insular cortex. And also the enhanced ability to share the feelings of others without reporting any sign of being emotionally overwhelmed. Actually, this is quite important because sometimes when people are too empathetic, they can become very overwhelmed, very burnt out. But with the practice of metta meditation, they can actually reflect on their empathy, reflect on that kindness feelings, so they can gain the control over that empathy and loving kindness emotion without being burnt out or overwhelmed. And what does meditation does to our brain physically, physiologically and also physically, right? So our brain is actually like plasticine, it can change its structure. This is called neuroplasticity. So like the picture here, like plasticine. So when your mind change, your brain change too. Okay, for example, taxi drivers, they develop a larger hippocampus. Hippocampus is a part of a brain that make for visual spatial memories. So through meditation, you can actually change your mind to change your brain for a better, change your brain for better. So actually a happier person have more active left frontal region of brain, according to Davidson. So using MRI, the neuroscientists found out that neuroscientists found out that 20 experienced Buddhist meditators had a greater volume of brain tissue in their prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is this colored region in this picture. So prefrontal cortex, they play a role in processing attention, sensory information, and our internal bodily sensation. So they actually change our prefrontal cortex, gray matter, and brain tissue. And then also in our amygdala, meditation change our structural in amygdala. Most part of our brain thickens and increase their connectivity with meditation. But this one is very special. It shrink. It's our amygdala is the part that responsible for our fight and flight response. As you meditate, the neural part of this brain, they actually fire lesser and lesser and lesser, so that eventually after a long-term meditation, it actually shrink. So it explains why some long-term meditators, they are so calm, so peaceful, even in the most stressful situation, because their amygdala is smaller than usual non-meditators. And of course, not just our amygdala and gray matters of the prefrontal cortex. There are many other parts of our brain, because our brain is so complicated. But these are just some of the examples on the changes in the brain after meditation. In some research, they also found that our size of hippocampus, where we store memories, and also our insula or default mode network, etc., they change also. So yeah. So that's it. That concludes my sharing today. And thank you so much for your time. And I hope you enjoyed today's topic. Thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Brother Terence.
Now we have spent almost an hour listening to the Dhamma sharing and chanting the Sunday puja this morning. Now let's dedicate some marriage to all beings seen and unseen. Akasatha cha bummata deva naga mahiddika punyang tam anumojitva chiram rakkantu loka sasanang ettavata cha amhehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva sabbe bhuta sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. And aspirations. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavani panapatiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you everyone for watching. For other videos, please visit the links below. Bye bye for now. See you all again next week.